unknown answers come. अरे यार problem है, problem है. Once you understand these two, then you talk about resources. Companies who are doing well, you will find they have the right people. Over time they made mistakes, but then they've got the right team in place. So even if the owners are not there for 1 month, things go on. There are systems in place. What technology are they using? They are not just using Neft and WhatsApp. They've gone much beyond, much beyond. They have an ERP system. You get the point? The way they produce goods, what machines are they using? It's not about, oh, machine तो मेरे 30 साल से पड़ा हुआ है, उसी को इस्तेमाल कर रहा हूँ. Right? Today you have latest machines. They may cost you, but then productivity is much higher, much higher. And again, you will find people companies can differentiate who's growing, who's not growing based on what sort of resources they have. And the easiest indicator of a company which is growing is after the owners, who's the next level A team? Who are the top 4 or 5 people based on which the business runs? And when you look at companies that are not growing, you will find that line is very poor, very poor. They're very poor. They're basically order takers. हाँ साहब क्या करना है? ये करना है, ठीक है मैं करता हूँ. They can't take decisions, and we don't want them to take decisions because they're not capable of doing it. That creates a barrier. When you drive a car, when you put it in the first gear, it gives you maximum petrol consumption and the speed is slow. In second gear, it is slightly better. And when you go to the top gear, what happens? Your speed is very high. Your petrol consumption is lowest. And that's what we call delegation when it comes to organization. Are we delegating or are we trying to do everything ourselves? It's adding into costs. Please understand, we always take people as costs. But once you understand delegation, you'll find that's a much cheaper method. And I'll give a simple example. Assume that you're declaring an income of 1 crore. Simple income. Assume an income of 1 crore per year for income tax. Which means per hour, you are costing the company 5,000 rupees. Because you take 2,000 hours in a year that you're working, 5 days a week, 8 hours into 50. 2 weeks for marriages, social functions, etc. So if we have that, you're costing the company 5,000 an hour. Understand that. And we won't take decisions about 500 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees. Look at it. Whereas the person who could be hired, his charge will be almost how much? 500, 600 per day. Please understand this. That's how the costs come down. We think, no, आदमी लेने से कच्चा पड़ता है. These simple numbers tell you, by having the right people, your costs are going to be dramatically low and you can look at something bigger. We don't do that. We don't do that. So resources in terms of people, this is the most glaring examples. Glaring examples. And then of course, what systems and processes you have. If you look at companies which are flourishing, there are systems in place, how the order comes in, how the order management cycle, how it is registered, how it goes, everything. I have seen one company where when the order comes, it is to be entered by a data entry person. If it is entered by a data entry person and the specification not as per the limits, the system will not accept it. It will not accept an unprofitable order, period, that's it. It's not that there will be a boss, nahi, ye karna hai, nahi karna hai. System will simply not accept it. He has to go to his senior and say, what do I do with this? And invariably they'll say, tell the customer, not acceptable, ask them to revise it. That's what they'll do. But here what say, nahi, yaar, theek hai, kar dete hain, usko milta hai, karne do usko, chalne do. We don't have systems. How do you enforce? How do you get things done? How do you get things done? What systems are in place? Is it manual? Are we having some systems in place using IT? So we look at very simple tool for you to look at your own business. Oh, am I doing well? Am I growing? And these are all about internal, nothing about external. Oh, market is bad, competition is big, disruption, what up, chodo. Within the company, how are we managing it? Using these simple 4 points, you can say, oh, where should I grow? What should I do? How to overcome this? Right? Any questions at this point? Anybody? Anybody wants to raise a point? Yes. You will find me a little rude in replying to this question, but then I must convey my message. Benchmarking means मेरे पास अक्कल नहीं है. What is somebody else doing? नकल मारो उसकी. You want to get next practice. What should be the leading? You don't be guided by somebody. हाँ उसका इतने में मेरा होना चाहिए. अरे छोड़ो उसको. What is the best practice? I want to go still higher. What's your ambition? So you see your own track and then say, oh, I want a 15% improvement. How do I do it? You don't have to wait for some outsider to guide you, some consultant come and tell you, I've been doing this. I want to reduce. For example, in jewelry, we talk about the concept of gold loss. Gold loss, हमारा 3% है. I want to reduce it by 1% more. That's it. Why do you require an outsider? There's no need. My rejection rate is 7%. Can I reduce it to 5%? Get internal metrics rather than looking at, oh, somebody has got more brains, and because based on that, what should I do? Imitation doesn't take anywhere. You want to be innovative in what you do. Anybody else? Any points on any of these 4 parameters? Very few ways to look at what's preventing you from growing. And which do you think is the most common reason for companies not growing among these 4? Yes. Now, in our operations, we talk about root cause. Why you are not able to attract talent? Why you are not able to attract the right talent? No, not necessarily. Not again. That's an excuse. That's an excuse. Why they're not coming? As I told you, we have enough companies who are growing at the rate of 20-25%, doing very well. They're able to attract talent. But some of us who are not able to grow, say talent nahi mil raha hai. We are blaming. What is it that you're doing because of which you're not able to attract talent? Think of it that way. If you look at many of the startups, kuch bhi nahi hai, there's nothing. They're able to attract talent. Why are they not able to attract talent? You want to go what we call the root cause analysis. Why? Go down to 5 whys. Yeah, yes.
The initial year and trying to take the share of the existing small enterprises. And that has created a lot of havoc. Now they are penetrating into small cities and even smaller districts all over the country.
Very true.
And so many other platforms of all India established industrialists who were earlier into industry are now coming into trading also and medium-sized businesses also. So how do we take that challenge in today's perspective when technology drives the business and small industry businesses are not equipped to that level?
Good. Very good question. Let me take you back to about 15 years back in industry. When Make My Trip came, how did travel agents respond? When ticket booking happened online, how did local travel agents respond? What did they do? What you're talking about is disruption. The rules have changed. When the rules change, if you're not able to make up with it, you have to exit. As simple as this. Just because you are there and there's no right that you have to continue. Rules have dramatically changed. When Make My Trip came, lot of people in travel agent business, they went out of business. Or if you take the finance business, previously you used to have jobbers, sub-brokers, where are they today? They're not there. You go directly on the net and you want to buy or sell. Technology is reframing the business. And we are saying, nahi, purani hisab se chalna chahiye. No, old is no more. What is the next? What is the next? In every industry it is happening. Every industry. The sad part is, we are not the disruptors. We are saying, oh, hamara kaam chopat ho raha hai, main kya karu? Not one family business is saying, oh, I'm going to disrupt. Somebody from family has to get out and do it because families don't accept it. Hey, risk kaun lega? Nahi, makaan le lunga, asset dikhta hai. We can look in physical assets, but something which is different, this percent people don't. So when times are changing, this is bound to happen. Bound to happen. Across the way, if you look at the latest forecast for the US market is, over the next 3 years, 50,000 retail outlets are going to close, especially those in the malls. They're predicting, and then you know, why I'm a retailer, what should I do? Here we are not looking ahead, we're all the time looking behind. Oh, आगे क्या हो रहा है, क्या होने वाला है? Given that, what should I do? And to understand this, let me give you a very simple example. When I move around the markets and I look at Kirana stores, I'm talking about metro town, I'm not talking about smaller towns. Metro towns, I don't see anybody who's lesser than 30 years sitting in the counter. It is only people who are 50 plus. Because the younger people feel, there's nothing much scope, let me do something else. They are going, but people who are there, नहीं, हमारा काम तो चलता रहेगा, हमारा तो customer है, कहाँ जाएगा? We are not ready to understand things are changing and respond. But the younger generation realize it, oh, not possible, let's look at something else. So especially in the Jain community, I'm seeing this, where we got into business which were easy to enter. And now the next generation thinks, अरे इसमें तो गुंजाइश है नहीं, they're going into employment. That's what is happening. but उतना capital बना नहीं है, start something else, ठीक है नौकरी में चले जाऊंगा. That's what is happening. Yes. No, it's not 10 years. It's not 10 years.
That is where, sir, most of us probably
It is not about etiquette.
but we need to focus more on.
If you understand, see, what you're trying to do is not something revolutionary. There are enough people who have done the same thing who can replicate it fully. Replicate it fully. So you can have consultants who come in on the project level, oh, I want this to be done, can you help me? So even if you don't have, what people, get people who work on 3 months project, 2 months project, I want to improve this process by so much. Make them work on it. Work on it. And they'll be happy to do, and you will be able to benefit out of it, rather than say, oh, I have to take employment, aadmi naya lena padega. No, no, no. Take people who are good, proven track record. Tomorrow, if you have a court case against you, you don't appoint an employee. You appoint a lawyer who already has experience. Same thing here. Same thing here. You want to improve a process, get a person who knows that job, ask him to do it. And enough people are available. Enough people are available. Aap kam padta hai, let me know. I'll send you people. I'll send you people. We'll be happy to do it for you. Yes.
So just asked, what do I do when competitions like Tata and Reliance and all these companies are entering into the business? So you mentioned that there are travel agencies. When Make My Trip was launched, what did the travel agents do that survived? Like the travel agents that
very
survived,
few,
what did they
very
do?
few survived.
What do you think they did? So because then this means that he needs to quit pharma and go into something else.
Something else.
Then again he'll have to quit that because there'll be a
No. Again, we are assuming this is what we call a negative mindset. By I'm a loser.
So it'll be a chain. No, sir. I'll quit my business, get into furniture, then quit, then get into pharma, then
Again,
quit.
see, point is, you are starting thinking like a loser. अरे मेरे हाथ में कुछ नहीं है. I'm a nobody. You will say, नहीं, I'll make things happen. क्या करना है मुझे? Now, in the case of Make My Trip, what did some of the people do? Why will specialize in groups. You want to go on a holiday, hillside, we'll plan the trip for you. They came up with something, the customized package, personal package. That's what they did. They didn't say, oh, aapko ticket, Delhi ka ticket chahiye, come on. No, there's no money in that. Some people still do it, but there's no money in it. But they said, can we encourage honeymoon packages, holiday packages, silver jubilee packages? How can I help people have fun? That's what they do. And that's where you'll find one of our alumni is doing this.
So they
One
added a
alumni is doing
personal
this.
touch to holidays,
Absolutely,
which Make My
absolutely,
Trip as a
absolutely.
big brand can't do.
Absolutely. I have one of my cousin brother's son who's in the business. He does only exotic travels. Exotic means places you have never even thought of. South America, mein some place, Caribbean, mein some place, which normally doesn't appear on the scene. He's doing very well. He is relocated to the US. From there he's operating. Huge market, huge. He says, "Koi BNB aane do, kuch bhi aane do." There is a huge market. People who want some very phenomenal experience and they want guidance. They want help. Kahan jana chahiye? And in each place they will have a person who understands the language. They'll be able to guide you. So, point I'm making is, where is the opportunity? That's where it comes down. What is the revenue formula? We forget this. We are trying to protect what we have. Where is the money in these days? Where is the money? You start looking at it, lots of opportunities. Lots of opportunities.
Right, so and there's another question to the initial statements that.
One second.
Okay. Just one, if you may. Thank you. So initially, where you mentioned that we should delegate the responsibilities, and like you mentioned, 5,000 rupees compared to the fact that the person will cost 500 per day. his time.
Time will cost 500 per day. So in this, I had a question that when there are certain roles and responsibilities which you are,
as a small business here, a little concerned to delegate, because those would, you know, those are very commanding jobs, but they still need to be delegated. So once that person quits your company, then you're left with, because we are smaller companies, there's no proper transfer of responsibilities. When a new guy joins in, 5 days notice, they disappear. Things like these happen. So how do you tackle that problem, sir? Because delegating is not the fear. Most of us fear that delegation ke baad when the person
I'll
quits.
give you an example of this. I'll give an example from FME itself. We had a student who was making milk bags. You know, the milk comes in plastic pouches. That they take a tender, they win the tender, and then they produce. Now that plant is in a different place. Their office is in Nariman Point. Father and son are busy doing stock market business, and this factory is running in Nasik. So ask the father, you don't go to the factory? Main kyun jaun? What will I do there? Do I know anything about? I don't know. He says, you have to buy the chemical, that whatever the material is, that you have to buy from Reliance. Whether I buy or somebody else buys, the price is the same. There's no difference. You have to pay in advance, you have to buy it, there's no advantage. Now when the material goes there, the machine is automatic. You feed the raw material this side, output comes on the other side. What can I do on that? He's saying things can go wrong if electricity suddenly stops, the whole machine stops. Or something goes wrong in the machine. He said, can I do something about it? I can't do anything about it. So I said, how do you manage? He said, I have a supervisor there who manages it. If there is a problem, fine. I said, how do you manage him? He says, I have a band of tolerance. Wastage, kitna ho raha hai? That's how I monitor it. And that's how I do, nothing else. Every day I come to know kitna wastage hai. And why is that? If the wastage is because electricity stopped, you can't do anything about it. Wastage happened because machine did not work properly. It happened because machine not handled properly. Yes, what do you do about it? And he says, if I go there, what will happen? Workers will start talking to me, they will not respect the supervisor. He'll be taken for granted. I will be having him, he will have no role. Better let him manage. Hai kya mera? So try to understand what's the work and try to understand what are the few numbers you want to look at. You will find things are possible. Things are possible. There's a lot to learn when you network with FME students and their parents. Lot to learn how to manage a business in the way they do. Lot. Huge. Right? So let me take you to the next. Now this is the sad part. Look at this. There is no guarantee. Just because the business started my grandfather, that does continue forever. No way. Even a garden, unless you maintain the garden, it won't grow. It won't grow. So what are we doing? Just because somebody is there, somebody started, oh, chalna hi chalna hai. No, not necessary. Simply not necessary. Leadership has to be continuously earned. This was made, statement was made by a professor from Harvard, Robert Simmons. So the question I want to take back is, you want to look at those 4 boxes, are they valid in my business? And I find in many businesses, at least one box is a problem. One box is a problem which is preventing you from growing. You may be in the right market, you may have the right profit model, but resources are a problem, or the process of the problem, or the very market which you are in, there's no scope. There's too much of competition, products are identical, maramari chal raha hai nahi kuch. Lekin हाँ नहीं volume बढ़ाना, कहाँ से बढ़ाओ, क्या मतलब है? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Let me get to proposition number 2, which is even more difficult to digest, but it follows from the first one. So we are talking about business, but talk about who's managing it. What capability do they have in given situation today? So much of change happening, so much of disruption happening. Are we doing something differently or nahi? 25 साल से ऐसे काम चल रहा है. That's how we are doing. Doing more of the same and times are changing doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So you want to look at the next slide. Are the owners the reason for the growth, or are they the barriers? Look at it. And you want to apply this to your own business. You want to apply to your own business. Look at the focus. क्या काम चलना चाहिए, आज क्या करना है, what are we good today? We are thinking about yesterday and today. It's about survival. इतना आउटपुट निकालना है, इतना सेल करना है, इतना कलेक्शन होना है, क्या करूं मैं? Our focus is on problems. We have no time for opportunities. पैसा कहाँ बनता है, कैसा बनता है? We have no chance, no objective. But if you ask me about what are the problems that come, I have not one. 25 प्रॉब्लम दिखा दूंगा अभी एक सेकंड में. इतना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, आदमी नहीं मिल रहा है, पैसा नहीं है, कंपटीशन ज़्यादा है, मार्जिन नहीं मिल रहा है, उधार बढ़ रहा है. We have hundreds of problems. How to solve those? That's where. By solving a problem, you don't make money. Only a doctor does that. हाँ, बीमार हो, आपको ठीक कर देगा, पैसा बनाएगा. But in our business, by solving a problem, you don't make money. By exploiting opportunities, you make money. We are not spending time on exploiting opportunities. We are solving problems, and we think we are doing great. हाँ, ये सेल टैक्स वाले का मामला निपट दिया मैंने. हाँ, so how is it going to make money for you? How is it going? So you want to do what is called time analysis. If I am spending 10 hours in my business, how am I spending my time? What am I spending my time on? How much is it to earn money? How much to save money? And how much for growing? You will find for growing there's no chance. Chance in it. We are solving problems. And we think we are the best problem solvers. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And the problem my friend raised, we don't have people. We don't have everything, we have to do ourselves. But when I look at companies which are successful, who are growing 800 crores, 1000 crores, 1500 crores, 2000 crores, 5000 crores, 9000 crores, they are all in the F&B. People, enough. They can say, oh, factory में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. We have one of our alumni who are possibly the India's largest car dealerships, right from Rolls-Royce to Maruti, they'll have everything. And once I was holidaying in Switzerland, in Zurich, I met their whole family, all of them. I said, "Bhai, all of you here, who look at the business?" There are people allowed. Come karenge. We are on holiday, 15 days we are out, that's it. Entire family, all the brothers, mother, children, wife, everybody is out. Business running, not one, multiple businesses. 15 days they can be out, they are holidaying. Why? Because they have set for each dealership, who is the person responsible, who is doing what, everything is set. There are processes, resources, everything is set. And they can afford to do it. How many people can afford to do that? भाई हमको हर मिनट में देखना चाहिए वो क्या हो रहा है, सीसीटीवी में लगा, वो आदमी कहाँ, अरे कहाँ जा रहा है, बैठ जाऊंगा. We want to do that. And then we think we are managing. Please understand this. You are fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. That's what you are doing. We simply don't have the next level whom we can say, oh, karo bhaiya kam, bada ho gaya. And when the next generation comes in, invariably there is conflict. नहीं, आप जो करें गलत है, नहीं, आप जो बोलते गलत है. We start fighting. Even the family member who comes in, they are not able to make it 1 plus 1 is equal to 3, 1 plus 1 is equal to 1.5. What's the fun? This is the problem for companies who have reached a certain stage. In a certain stage, they say, oh, काम तो ठीक चल रहा है, सब कुछ चल रहा है, but I want to be debt free. I don't want to answer anybody. I am happy. Very often you'll find a person wants to grow, the own resources may not be sufficient. Even for Tatas, they're going for external financing. If your growth ambitions are very low, ठीक है, I'll be debt free, अपने पैसे कम कर लूँगा, no problem. But the moment you say you want to grow, question is how much control you are prepared to give up in ownership. And that becomes a difficult, नहीं यार, possible नहीं. And we have companies who are less than 100 crore who have gone public. And they're doing very well. They're doing very well. Less than 100 crore turnovers and they've gone public. बोलता है भाई growth करना है, उतना पैसा मेरे पास है नहीं. Taking bank loans is too expensive. The moment you say you're a public company, you have a very different image. They're doing very well. So this again prevents, नहीं यार, काम नहीं करना. तो good काम करना, अपना ही काम करना. Good in some ways, but when it comes to growth, it becomes a problem. And today, when you take money from some of the sources, the cost of money can be as less as 3 and 4%. 3 and 4%. We will rather invest our money somewhere else in mutual fund rather than putting in growth. Now look at this. When I look at business which are booming, they're doing extremely well, they're all looking, आगे क्या करना है, आगे क्या करना है, what next, what next. Their simple word is what next. Where is the opportunity? Whereas you look at people who are struggling, दादाजी ने वो किया था, लोटा लेके आया था, हमने ये किया था, हमने यहाँ पहुँच गए, 3 गाड़ियाँ हमारे पास, 2 बंगले हैं. We are looking at our past. We are not looking ahead. What are you going to do to one step ahead? We are all then talking about history. This is what we did, this is what we did. Forget history, yaar. History, nobody cares. What next? And especially in families where if there are 2 partners, two brothers, etc., the next generation, invariably there are 4 sons. If the business doesn't grow, what's going to happen? Look at it. You're going to have conflicts. You've got a very small thing to run. You have problems. Growth takes a second. We simply say, जो है उसको संभाल के रखो, जो है संभाल के रखो उसको. It doesn't take you very far. So you want to look at these 4 points and say, oh, does it really make sense for companies who are not growing? For those who are growing, each of these are positive. Oh, I'm growing because I have the next level of people. I'm not concerned. I've met entrepreneurs, F&B people. I can talk to them for a whole day without they getting disturbed, even with a phone call. They will tell them, no phones. And the business runs. Whereas the other place, right? You are managed by the telephone, by your mobile phone. You are not the manager. Your mobile phone is your manager. That's what happens. And then we are saying, what kam kiya maine aaj? Mobile phone has taken a lot of work from you. That's what it has done. Look at it. So each of these, you will have contrasting opinions when it comes to people who are growing and people who are not able to grow. You want to look at it. Oh, where is my bottleneck? What do I address? Now let's look at this. On one side, I'm taking the size of the business, and the other side, I'm taking the time. When you start a business, it takes time. There are problems, and you proceed. And then business picks up. At some point, you'll find because of internal reasons, you're not able to grow. We don't have the right people, we don't have enough money, or there's competition which has come up. You'll find it peaks. At that point, many companies simply say, "ठीक है यार, market में दम नहीं है, छोड़. Let's maintain it there itself. Maintain it." This is what we call a flower. If you have a flower with you, it will start blooming, full bloom, and then it will wither away. This is typically what happens to a flower. But if you look at successful F&B alumni, what have they done? One business is showing, one market है, इसमें दम नहीं है, चलो export में चलते हैं. We have a lot of alumni who have said, domestic market में पैसा नहीं, margin नहीं मिल रहा है, let's go and export. And they're doing wonderful, wonderful. World markets, why not? They're saying new markets, can I sell something new to my existing customers? They are looking at opportunities. They are looking at opportunity, not saying that, yaar, kya karu, हालत खराब है, कुछ नहीं. They are saying, no, let's look at new opportunity. How to make more money, how to make more money, how to make more and more money. They are not stuck. So when that opportunity also becomes a little weak, then they say, which is the next opportunity? Which new product category? Which new markets? Because money ultimately comes from markets. Please understand, it is not a product, markets. Which markets are you in? पैसे वाला market, लस्सी वाला market या चाच वाला market? Don't be very clear. And very often you'll find markets over time become flat. They don't give you much money. So which one should I be in? Let's take a simple example. You take Bikaji or you take Haldiram. Look at the origins. What were they? One shop. That also in Bikaner. And look at where they are today. Did they have problems in terms of finance? Did they have problems? Yes, they had problems. It's not that everybody overnight, but they overcame this. But they saw there's a huge opportunity. I can become bigger than McDonald's plus Burger King in India today. Why not? Look at the aspiration. Look at the aspiration. Bikaji's turnover, if I go by the IPO document, is more than 1500 crores. 1500 crores. Look at it. And we'll say, oh, yeah, namkeen ka dukaan hai. But look at the turnover they have. Look at the turnover. So So instead of a flower, you talk in terms of a garden. Oh, I've got one tree, second tree, I've got a coconut tree, I've got a mango tree, I've got a tamarind tree. एक season में mango चलता है, एक दिन में tamarind चलता है. It goes. It could be new market, it could be new products, whatever it is. It's not necessarily has to be different new business. Now this is something you want to think. Because many people think, अरे नया काम में problem आ रहा है. नया काम problem नहीं है. Giving up old ideas is the problem. That is the problem. We are so used to doing something in a particular way, we find it difficult to see something new, and that's why younger generation has to come. You know, Mr. Hashmaria, what he said, the digital thing, I don't understand. Let younger people do it. He accepts it. But in our business, what to do? नहीं, खुद ही करना है. क्या करूँ, क्या नहीं करूँ? And we don't understand. We say, no, we'll manage it somehow. Doesn't make sense. And this is a statement given by one of the most famous economists ever. And how many years ago? 100 years ago. 100 years ago. Almost on 70 years or 80 years ago. That's what he said. This is not something new. It's a very traditional way of looking at it. So when you talk of the owners, we look at them from two perspectives. How well you manage a business. Mr. Mariwala said, we understand the business very well. कहाँ से माल लेना है, कैसा प्रोसेस करना है, कैसा बेचना है, which dealers, which wholesalers, the masters, no questions. About day-to-day operations, wonderful. But and the assumption is, oh, the same thing will continue, same things. But what is the ruling paradigm today? In every business there is change. Every business. Whether it's about people, the way people, if I go back in my own time, there are people who started working in the company, worked there for 25, 30 years. But now, making a person work for even 2 years together is a challenge. How to manage those people? How to get talent? Every aspect, whether it's product, technology, customers, everywhere they change. If you go back before 1991, there was no such thing as Domino's. There was no such thing as Swiggy. Today you'll find so many types of business coming in. Given that, what should I do? What should I do? Mr. Mariwala mentioned about Dunzo, the other people, Misho and all the people. The entire wholesale business is likely to get wiped out. Enough science today, enough science. But how many of us are wholesalers are still thinking about it? Think about it. Standard products is all going to be driven by technology out. So you want to look at how good am I at this and how good am I at managing change. And when I look at our alumni who are successful, they score very high on this point. They're able to understand change. They're able to anticipate change. ये चीज बदलने वाला है. Given that, what should I do? What should I do? They anticipate, not 1, 2, 3 years ahead. Given this, what should I do? Whereas many of us are stuck in the past. Oh, then they'll continue. क्या करना मुझे? So I'm giving the same graph to understand the difference. Keeping this in mind is operations and change. So what sort of person will be able to make a garden and not just look at the flower? What sort of person? How do you describe this person, this owner? Somebody who is protecting a past to somebody who is creating a future. What sort of person we call it? We call them entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur is somebody who pursues opportunities regardless of the resources that he has. Whereas business says, 10 crore है मेरे पास, 2 लड़के हैं, ऑफिस है, क्या धंधा करूं? He starts with what he has. Whereas an entrepreneur, he says, I don't have anything. Where is the opportunity? Find opportunity means will follow. In today's time, means follow. You have 21 companies going unicorn in less than 3 months. Money is not an issue, and we think money is the constraint. We are not looking at opportunities. We are stuck in this first part, managing operations. The second two is what we call quality of entrepreneurship. Oh, can I look at opportunity? In my business, there is a new opportunity. What can I do? What can I do? Now I'll give an example. If you look at way companies have changed. Any examples come to your mind? People who are cashed on an opportunity, because this difference between a businessman and entrepreneur is crucial for somebody who wants to succeed. Reliance, the thing is open now. They got into too many things with too many competitors. How will they react? How they will be able to manage it? We don't know. And as you delegate, you have problems. You can see the way the Mumbai Indian team is doing. The problem starts with what teams? How did you take the right people? And it was delegated to the sun. Look at it. So when in the past they were all monopolies, whether it is chemicals, whether it was petrol, they were all monopoly businesses. Today, in every business they are competing the world level person. How far they'll be successful, we don't know. They're getting into too many things. And if you take Mukesh Ambani, he spends 8 hours per day, 10 hours per day, and you've got 30 businesses. How much time? Where will you put your time? Kahan karoge? Next level, delegation. Who are the next level? How are they going to do? What direction do they have? You start looking at it. And then you look at Adani. Every business is taking is a monopoly business. Port is a monopoly. Airport is a monopoly. Every business acquiring is a monopoly business. No competition. No competition. That's why. What's your revenue model? What sort of business are you in? How is the money going to come? Don't look at it. Right? Any other examples of companies, businessmen who are entrepreneurs? You start with something, but they're entrepreneurs. One of the best examples in India today is Mothers and Sumi. Look at the company where they started and today where they are across the world. Across the world. They didn't say, oh, ye kaam aata hai mujhe. How do you expand? They are in multiple countries, taking over so many people, some of the best customers in the world. That's how we start looking. This will answer your question. And this was said by a very, very famous person, 100 years ago. 100 years ago. Change is the number one problem why many businesses are not growing. Please understand this. Our response to change, and today change is the main paradigm. Continuity is not the paradigm. And things are going to be changing even faster. Even faster. This is a sad part. What made your grandfather successful is not going to make next generation successful. The rules don't apply. Today, if you are good at 5-day cricket, what chance of making money do you have? Zero. Times have changed. It's 2020. In 2020 also you must know, I'm a finisher, I'm an opening batsman, wicket keeper, what am I good at? Times are dramatically changing. But then we say, nahi, 5-day cricket mein khel raha hu. I've been playing my grandfather's time. It doesn't take you anywhere. And this is what I found out about companies who are growing. The owners have grown. They have become more capable. They have got themselves capable people. Whereas companies are not growing, their capability is not increased. They say, knowledge, practical baat batao. They discuss anything which is knowledge as theory. Understand, if you put hydrogen and oxygen together, you require some theory. How will it react? But in business, कोई theory की जरूरत नहीं. लगा दो यार, लगाओ तुक्का, हाँ हो जाएगा काम. We simply discredit. And theory simply means cause and effect. If I do this, what will happen? If I do this, what will happen? We are not ready to listen to that. We simply think, mere hisab se. It doesn't work anywhere. Now I come to the last proposition. Businesses can grow, no questions about it. There's no doubt. And that's how there are many businesses, hundreds, who are growing very well, extremely well. And this is where the problem starts. If I ask a person who is growing very well, भाई आगे 2 साल क्या करना है? They are very clear. नहीं, अभी हमको यूरोप में ऑफिस खोलना है. You want to open an office in America. This is what you want to do. They have something. Oh, we are going to introduce new product. we are getting into solar, we are getting into this. They have something, there's some plan. But you ask somebody who's stuck, nahi, aajkal mushkil hai, samajh mein nahi aa raha hai. We don't have a growth plan. We have no time for it. So when you talk about a growth plan, you want to start thinking. Kitna grow karna hai? If you look at startups, they are talking of 100% year-on-year growth. What are we talking about? 10%, 12%? What are we doing? What's our ambition level, aspiration level? Think about it. Today, if you tell somebody I'm growing at the rate of 8 or 10%, that's not inflation. There's not even inflation. Let's understand this. We are confusing activities and results. We are fully involved. 12 घंटे काम करता हूँ, जेब में क्या मिला? वो ढूंढना पड़ेगा यार. Doesn't make sense. So what's your growth plan? What are you going to do for the next 3 years? At least next 2 years. At least for 1 year. वो है नहीं. कल देखा नहीं मैंने. Yesterday, today. उसके आगे हमको दिखना ही पड़ता है. That's where the problem starts, and that's where, as a potential employee, if I come in, I can't see any future career growth. यार इनको इतना मगज मारी है, क्या करना है यहाँ पर? Run. That's what we don't have a career path for employees, and we don't have it for ourselves. If you look at startups, this is where the huge difference comes up. They are ambitious. Karna, ye bhi karna, wo bhi karna. And sometimes they go wrong. Many times they go wrong. Doesn't matter. But then ambition is there at the heart. Grow karna hai. And what makes them do that? Consistent focus on opportunities. All the time. Is market mein ye problem hai. In this way of doing things doesn't make. People want products in 10 minutes. I can do that. They're all the time looking at problems of customers rather than looking at problems of our own. That's the fundamental difference. They say, oh, where is the opportunity? A customer's problem is an opportunity for you. And they're able to see more and more of it. Whereas we don't. And these are all freshers. They are not experienced people, freshers. Once you do how much, then by what time? 1 saal mein, 2 saal mein? When FMB 1 was started, do you all remember what Dr. Shrikant gave us guidelines for growth and in terms of time? Yaad hai? He didn't give. The ambition, the targets he gave was, you must be able to double your profits in 3 years and grow 10 times in 10 years. He said, if you have not done that, we have failed. Look at the ambition. Double your profits in 3 years and 10 times in 10 years. That's what he talked about. You'll find very few companies fall in that category. Very few. We are happy, huh? Kam bad raha hai. We are earning more than what put in fixed deposits. Right? Doesn't make sense. What type of growth you want? Is it going to be a new market? Is it going to be a new product? New technology? How are we going to grow? Those things are left open. And then, how are you going to implement it? You're going to have a team. How are you going to do it yourself? You're already fully occupied. Where will the time? Who's going to do it? And you'll find a successful example here where many of our alumni who are already into some business, they've gone into real estate and they've done well. They found a method. Oh, how do I manage real estate and my existing business? It's not that impossible. You want to start looking at these simple questions, then say, oh, how am I going to grow compared to what I'm today going forward? How do I manage it? Right? Thank you. Anybody wants to ask any questions? Any doubts? You know, what I'm saying is not going to be 100% truth. You can tell yes.
We are going more into exports now. So the concept is that how much we pay to a good distribution network. Should it be more, should it be less? How do you take a call?
It is not about the margin, it's about how much return you will get. And I'll give an example of this. One of our students from the PhD end, very bright girl. She was recruited by Procter & Gamble and put into Coimbatore market. He was a Kashmiri and he was put into Coimbatore market. So language is the problem first. He went and made a supermarket. Apple said, your company, what margin? Not interesting. If they go 25%, 15%, 17%, you're offering 7%. I don't want to keep your product. She got the pressure. He got worried. He said, okay, I'll come back. She went back to her boss. What is he saying? I don't know how to calculate. Let me take you back. He said, just go, let's go immediately to that same place and we'll talk. I'll make you understand how it works. So there, he went, oh, manager, oh, yes, sir, how to do? He said, I understand your problem of margin. Yes, margin problem, you're only giving 7%, others are giving so much. I understand. Then he went to the counter and said, picked up a competitor's product. When did it come? And he saw the data manufacturer. It is already 4 months old. Oh, it takes about 3 months to put out. So, oh, you're getting 25% after it spends 3 months, 4 months over here. Okay, good. Then he picked up another product, 17%. It's a package already damaged. How will you sell? Oh, the problem hai. Then he said, look at my product. When did this product come? He said, it came only yesterday. What about old stock? Old stock all sold out. So what is the margin I'm paying you? I am paying you 7% for a week. You are earning 7% on a weekly investment. And if you get that, in how much time you are money free? You are getting money. Look at the money you are making from me. I am the most profitable brand in your bloody company. Kya baat kar rahe ho tum? So it's not, you won't understand what's the money the fellow is making, not just the margin, it's the number of rotations, the investment, and then understand it. Simply saying margin doesn't make any sense. You have some time, come and sit with me, I'll help you understand how it works. Look at a company like Greenply, look at others, how are they making so much money? They're not having the highest margins. Look at Asian Paint, they don't offer the highest margins, but how come they are so strong? Our focus, oh, margin, no, it's a wrong thing to do. Yes. Okay, so you're talking about, is there a trade-off between profitability and growth? Profitability comes first. Then, when you want to grow, take it for granted you're going to make some mistakes. You won't provide for it. Oh, I'm going to experiment. Something may go wrong. Acceptable. But then the route to profitability, it has to be healthy growth. Simply volume growth is making no sense. You want it to be profitable growth. But then, as you grow to new areas, take it for granted there will be mistakes. You should be able to provide for it. Something should be bearable. That's what you do. One last question, anybody? Yes.
ના નથી થતું કાળે એક્સરસાઇઝ નથી થતું લઈ લો જે દેખાડવું જ લઈ લો રેકોર્ડ નથી થયું
in India, do they involve in corruption business? Look at the top 20 houses. Reliance ko chhod do. You always can take. You take people in South, Murgappa Group, TVS Group, take Godrej Group, take some Tata Group, so many. If you go back 20 years ago, Tata's did not get a license for flying an aircraft because people wanted bribes. He said no. Today they're running 3 aircrafts, 3 airlines. We think shortcut patapat, goose de do yaar, kaam ho jayega. You don't grow, you'll remain where you are. You want to start and say, you want to understand ethics, sustainability. That's the route to grow, and you will find company which long last. We're talking about long last. Certainly you find that is business. The moment you are corrupt, your people below you are going to be corrupt. You will never be able to do something. Never. We take it for granted. We want Modi to be perfect, but we will be corrupt. What basis? What basis are we talking? Let's not have double standards. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was a truly invigorating session. We would now like to bid goodbye to each one of you who joined this event virtually. The live stream of this event will now be concluded. Thank you once again. So Mr. Adaptability is on stairs today, and we're all set for laughter therapy. If you want to step out for a bio break, please do so and be back in 5 minutes. We request each one of you to keep your cell phones on silent mode, and video recording is strictly prohibited. Thank you.